Should we do it now? Then you can put it in the tough front.
Hello and welcome to If Only Podcast, Indian Football Only Podcast. I'm Romit. I'm here with Charan and Omar.
I wonder
Um,
what we're going to talk about in this episode.
Yeah.
who
I
knows?
wonder how this episode's gonna go.
I want to start with actually Omar's prediction
He killed it
because
again. I
he
bet.
killed it.
Asshole.
He not only killed it, he doubled his points.
Oh my god, you got that fucking double thing?
He got the double. He
Why
got
did you
exactly
even-
6 points. Can you guys see this?
Why did you make this an option, dude?
That's amazing.
What the
Sorry, Omar.
fuck?
Once again, your voice is coming muffled again. But this is absolutely bonkers, dude.
Wow.
That brings the table to 27, 22, 16. And I've not added the 12 plus 12 for Omar yet. We'll add that at the end of the table. Okay?
Why?
So it just doesn't look like he's already at 50 points.
Come
We're
on,
stuck
add it,
at
add it,
20.
add it. Come on, we'll forget about it later. Add it now. Yes.
Will this work? Yeah,
Mm.
39.
Yummy.
So there you go. That makes Omar the out and out leader in this table. All right, so let's start with the big one. I'm gonna start with you, Charan. Here, this is the game that pretty much got Gerard News fired, and I've been reading up on a lot about what happened, what was the reason to do it mid-season. Is it even good for the team if they do it mid-season? But if we have a quick look at the table, it seems like no matter, in the beginning we were cussing out East Bengal for what they were doing. It seems like they're on the same level as East Bengal now after 11 games, after 12 games.
Yeah, man. I feel like they started off well, but it was, even from like the highlights or whatever that we saw,
Yeah.
It didn't seem like, they were like improving or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like other teams were in, okay, let's say like gear 1 or gear 2 at the beginning of the season, but then they like, kicked off to the,
Yeah.
but it feels like Northeast never really kicked off. And that's kind of problematic, I guess.
And that's one of the reasons that was cited. So I was reading this article by Harsh Murarka, and why was he sacked? And basically, he goes on to say that there were 3 reasons that that made it possible. Is because one, he was signed as this new age manager who's going to change or revolutionize the way East Bengal plays their football.
Northeast.
So not Northeast plays their football.
Can you scroll up a bit? What
Yeah.
the fuck was that quote? Oh, it's like a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, I am sorry but I am fuck my team.
So he's one of the things he's renowned for is saying fucking in Indian television.
Oh,
And
wow.
basically he was saying, oh, I'm really proud of my team for the way they started. And he should have been, because they started off really well.
That's true.
And they did beat, I think, one of the top teams. I think Mumbai or ATK in one of the beginning games.
Has Mumbai been beaten at all? This
No, they have been. They have 1 loss and 1 draw. Let's confirm that. Yeah, 1 loss and 1 draw. And
2 rows.
and ATK has 2 draws. And I think one of them in the earlier days was because of Northeast. So him and his assistant manager, whose name was Gerard Khalid Jamil. So they had a difference of opinion on how the football club should be run. So basically, because they had Gerard's news, they sent Khalid Jamil somewhere else. I think they moved him to another team or another subsidiary team or something like that. And they thought because of Gerard's tactics, the gameplay would improve. And after 50 days, nothing really had improved. And initially, it seemed that they would be a good team, but that didn't pay off. So those are the 2 things I think that kind of got the players rattled in the team, and which kind of got them like, hey, I don't think we can play the way this coach is asking us to play. And a lot of them were kind of more close to Khalid. Khalid Jamil who got transferred, and I think that created a lot of tension within the team. And his Gerard's plan or implementation was not being executed properly. So so I
Mm.
think that kind of led to a whole rift within the team where I don't think I think he lost the dressing room pretty much, and I think that kind of led to his firing. And so the Khalid Jamil guy kind of got the interim job now after his firing, and let's see what he does. And they hired somebody from Israel just to be the group's kind of like the footballing director, just to see what
Yeah, yeah,
strategies
yeah.
they're doing and all that stuff.
Jeez,
So
man,
I
I had no idea actually. It seems like the whole fucking club was in disarray, as they say.
yeah,
So that's
and
not
it,
good. Yeah,
and what I take away from this is, yeah, sure, you got a new manager with a long term project of improving the club. I
yeah,
don't understand. Okay, your first maybe your 11 games, right? The results didn't go your way, and it kind of did in the beginning. Okay, and it then kind of fell apart, and which happens sometimes
yeah, yeah.
in a football club when you're trying to implement new changes, new strategies, and stuff, and you might not have the players already in the club that can reflect those changes, right? But I
Yeah.
would still feel you'd want to give this long-term project a little bit more time rather than sacking somebody after 11 days. What do you guys think?
No, I think yeah, yeah. Just like my initial reaction was, yeah, like okay, it's like one of those classic cases of, oh, like a manager comes in with some philosophy, and then the board is kind of like, oh, no, where are the results? But results versus philosophy, but
Mm-hmm.
philosophy good, results bad, whatever, that kind of shit. But
Do
at
you
the
think he
same
should have
time,
given more time?
it's kind of hard to say because, okay, that's one thing. Like, one thing is to, okay, if even if they, let's say, believed in the philosophy and they were like, okay, you know what, this is like a long term thing, I'm going to invest in the youth and bring people through the system or whatever the fuck, like that kind of thinking. But then if you lose the dressing room, then everything goes to shit, right? Like, the one thing about that approach is that everyone at least needs to buy into it.
Absolutely,
Otherwise it's like useless,
yeah,
especially if the players are not buying into it. Then if the players and the manager buy into it, then the board, it's like, okay, whatever, who gives a fuck about you? You can at least say that, right? But it seems like he lost the dressing room as well, which is not good, right?
yeah,
Like compare them to East Bengal, it's like opposite stories, like
mm-hmm.
started out pretty well and you're like, oh, I see a vision. Like they may not be like the best team in the league, but they have a style or form of football that I can like admire, and I can even like say Northeast has a distinctive style.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, 11 games in, halfway through the season, it looks like, okay, shit, it's not getting the results. But like in your head, you're like, okay, this guy has a long term plan. Whereas on the other side, you have East Bengal, and Robbie Fowler's been saying that since the beginning of the season,
Mm-hmm.
but they were really shit. And now you can see, okay, East Bengal is no longer at the bottom. They're actually ninth. In fact, they're right below Northeast.
Yeah, two more wins, they're kind of fourth or fifth,
Yeah.
you
They've
know.
So
only
they
lost a
could like
game
start
in the
rising a little
last
bit. So it's
5,
like,
you
it's
know.
kind of the same story. So it's like just because of the way or the timing of how it happened, or like the order
Yeah,
in which things happened, you're now
yeah,
thinking, oh, maybe Robbie Fowler wasn't wrong. Maybe he
yeah,
had a plan. And with Gus, you're thinking, shit, oh my God, he fucked up. But like it's kind of the same thing, right? Like they both
yeah,
had a new team, they both had a plan. Like it's unrealistic to expect them to win the league in the first
yeah.
season. So
Yeah.
like what is the actual expectation? And like this is like the business of football. It's a weird business. Like
You're speaking of expectation. What exactly is the expectation? Because this league is interesting because there's no relegation, so there's
yeah,
no fear of getting out of this prime league, like the pinnacle of the league, right? So what I was wondering is, why fire him? Why not give him the player, give him the time to get the players in? Because I would be interested to know what the players that he got in, whether they worked out or not, or maybe he lost them also. Because he seems like the young manager. Maybe he is inexperienced, or maybe he is uh, incapable of building a team. Who knows? We don't know the actual. We just know a little bit about him. But I feel like in a non-relegation league, wouldn't it have been better just to see the fruition of his plan for at least one season rather
That's a good
than
point.
cutting it out midway? Like,
No,
you
I
have invested. I'm
think
sure there was a plan in the beginning of the season. Has it gone so disarray that you're going to fire the guy?
yeah, man. I think so. Obviously, we can't know how long these like dressing room problems or whatever, how long they've actually been at the club.
Yeah,
So you just have to kind of assume now that it's been happening for a while.
yeah,
So imagine a situation where you have like these dressing room issues or whatever that just won't go away. The results aren't going your way, and the whole club seems to have like, I don't know. There's like different visions in different parts of the club, right?
yeah.
And a lot of it is down to the changes that the new manager made. So I can kind of see it from their perspective, like the board's perspective or whatever. And to be honest, like it sounds like, the players kind of wanted this to happen as well. So
That's what the
yeah,
articles have been saying and all that stuff. So I guess if you
yeah,
lose the players, that's it, right? You can't
yeah.
you can't
And
motivate
that's,
them anymore.
yeah, I feel like that's the biggest, like you can't really come back from that, man. Like,
And if you
unless,
contrast that with Robbie Fowler, maybe because of his stature, he has a
yeah,
little
he
bit
has
more
the dressing
control of that
room or
dressing
whatever.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how, because he keeps fucking slagging off his players and shit. But maybe they like respond to that kind of management. I don't know.
And if you do see their record for the last few games, Northeast hasn't won a game in the last 5 games, and East Bengal hasn't lost a game
Yeah.
in the last 5 games. So
No, he's clearly doing something right, man. This Robbie Fowler.
This Robbie Fowler
So
guy understands football. Something.
uh, something is there with him.
there was a little bit of like, oh, it'll be fun to rip on this ex-Liverpool striker,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think he's found his course correction. Like he's found his team that I feel like he's a little bit more confident with. Whereas Northeast, where it's really surprising. Just the beginning of the league, I guess, like few weeks ago, Northeast was third or fourth, and we were like,
Mhm.
oh hey. And when we thought like the league ends after game week 11, we really thought Northeast has
Yeah.
a good shot of getting into the playoffs. But yeah, now that with the
Yeah.
extended format, I feel like all our predictions goes off the table now. Like, look at that, Mumbai City with 80K up top. I think they are untouchable. Maybe 80K may not be if they lose a couple of games, but Goa, Hyderabad, and Chennai seem to be really up
Hyderabad, man. Like Hyderabad is kind of surprising. We all kind of thought that they were one of those. Uh,
mid-table teams. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like who knows whether they're good, bad, or whatever.
I don't mind digging in further with Hyderabad.
Hyderabad.
They seem like an exciting team. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know if
What
it's about
surprised
them or
me with
Chennai.
Jamshedpur being
Yeah.
seventh, dropping down to seventh now,
mm,
and they lost to
Goa
bottom.
really thrashed them, eh?
Goa thrashed them, and I think they lost to Kerala just the previous game week, with
I'm
Kerala being in
excited
a
for
red
that.
card.
I'm
Yes,
excited for that. Those highlights.
yeah. So what I was thinking is, let's just, because we are discussing Northeast, let's just go with no. Let's look at Northeast versus Hyderabad first. You know how they say, like, to build a good football team, you have to figure out the defense first and then
Mm.
build up the play. Maybe this shows a little bit of an experience where he tried to bring in transition football, tactical
Mm.
football, where his foundation wasn't right, or his foundation wasn't set up yet, and maybe it was too fast too soon. Maybe they need to focus on getting the players
That's
who
true.
can
I mean that
stabilize
they're
the team first, and then you build to a team of transition.
like while every other team seems to have figured out their foundations and like slowly,
Yeah,
slowly built it up. Like now Northeast is having trouble.
yeah,
yeah. And if you had to make like a list of, okay, what could they improve on? Like the first thing from like probably the first or second game, the first thing on your list would always have been the defense, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
it's kind of like surprising that they didn't
They
get
didn't do
like a
anything. Yeah.
defender, or
If they
just
did
try to
spend
like,
a little bit more time on that, they would have been a pretty dangerous team at this point,
Mm-hmm. It would be interesting to know if somebody could comment or let us know where, like, who are the players Gerard did get in, and if they were effective or not in the games if they played. If
Oh,
then one of their fans could let us know.
Whoa, shit. Oh, this is that crazy fucking
oh,
scramble.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm honestly not too worried, with Northeast because
you
I,
can't
I feel
allow
like,
that, Charan. You can't allow that. Look at that.
yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. I think
There
okay,
were
yeah,
3 foot defenders there on him.
it's no, it's ridiculous. Of course, like the defending is
Dude, did you
just
see that? I don't
something
think the
needs.
goalie expected him to take that shot. Watch this. Watch this.
That
Whoa.
curler, right?
Yeah, it
One,
just like
two,
kind of went over the goalie.
3. Yeah, he didn't even try for it.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
That was a really nice finish.
Or like all four goals are mistakes.
Yeah.
Like not, which is like okay. Of course, you shouldn't be making those mistakes, but that's kind of why I said I'm not too worried about it because it feels like they have good players and they
Was it a
score
mistake
goals.
though? Was it like are they mistakes or are they just like they show
Defensive
how
lapses.
like fucking lacking the defense is? Like it's not a mistake that they're not prepared to defend those things. They just don't know how to do
Yeah,
it.
like what I
Sharon,
mean is
Sharon, I don't think this was a mistake, dude.
which one?
Where did it go? That goal by Liston. I don't think that was a mistake. This
Like
is
they
not a
didn't know what to
mistake.
do.
Yeah, look at that. Those 3 players, man. Look at what they're doing. What is
Look,
sir?
yeah.
Look at 17. What is he doing?
No man, what I mean is it's not like it was like a I don't know, like it's not like they outplayed them and scored or anything like that. It's like these are things.
I
Look at
think
This
this.
that
is
they
not a
did. I think
mistake.
that they did. I
Dude,
actually
it
disagree
is.
with that. I think that they completely outplayed them.
No, but it's like look at this. The defensive like positioning is just shit.
So
And
the
then when
last
you,
goal, I agree. For the last
and
goal,
then
I'd say like that's like pure like he was lucky that that ball went where it did.
and then in like the other case,
You
it's
just said that. Sorry, Chad. You just said that defensive positioning was shit. That's
yeah.
on the manager. On this goal, how is this a goal?
But these are mistakes, right? Like that's what I. So I don't know if it's like I wouldn't say that Hyderabad was like better than. Okay,
But
maybe
Northeast
the
always
Look
makes
at
these
that, man.
okay
mistakes.
this one okay fine.
Northeast
Look at
always makes these kinds of mistakes, where like
Yeah,
the defenders are, oh, they just happen to be in the wrong position. It's like that should be something that they're good at. That's their job.
yeah, I guess.
and the Northeast goal seems to be the mistake goals that they've scored. Like in this one, it's just like the haphazard goal with the one where nobody could score, and the one
Oh yeah,
before
that
that.
fucking like garbage goal.
Yeah, except for Machado, I don't know and anybody else who stood out in these highlights for Northeast.
The thing
I
is
don't
that
know.
they did you could still see they had like movement and there was some like good like the
Yeah,
shots that Machado took,
that's
like the lead up to them was pretty good, like other players did contribute to that, but
Hmm.
at the back there's like no signs of that kind of football. Like it looks like two different teams, like from the
yeah.
midfield forward it looks like a fucking team that knows what it's doing and they just need to finish, and then from the midfield back they just look like a team that's like they've never defended in their lives.
Mm. Yeah, man. I don't know. So like I'm just saying like I'm still hopeful because maybe it's just about like getting like a defender or a couple of defenders or working on your defense or something like that. Maybe I don't know. But like the reason I kind of still am positive about it is because I feel like in ISL especially, man, it's like you see so many teams just struggling to like create chances, get like proper, work the keeper and things like that, just taking shots from like fucking 40 yards out. And I don't know, but like Northeast, it doesn't seem they have like at least they're like passing the ball well. And I don't
There's a
know.
little bit of
Yeah,
gameplay in
there's
there,
like a
but
little bit more that they show, which I think is actually like the harder thing it seems like in ISL. The
No, like I
defense.
agree with you that like like when you watch them attack, you're like, okay, they know what they're doing, and like that is difficult to see in ISL. Like you don't
Yeah.
actually see that often, but like that's what I think Romit's point was, that like okay, he did all that, but now like the what's lacking in the defense is starting to show, and
Mm.
maybe that's why he got fired, right? Like yeah, you have that, but if you're scoring 2 goals per game but letting 4 in, like
Yeah, yeah.
you're fucked.
It's no, I'm not even like supporting the coach or anything like that. I just think they have the players, it's not like really they're like in such a fucked up state that, they
True,
need to like
maybe the
refresh the
defenders
team
just
or
need
something like that.
direction.
like I think they have like good enough players, and they just need maybe like a better some manager that they believe in or whatever it is, you know. But
One thing to keep in mind is that
yeah,
also that was Gerard's last game. So what we saw may not be the same in the future games because now there's
yeah,
a different manager who's going to change, or I'm
yeah,
sure
man. Like
impose his
how?
style of play.
Yeah, dude. Like how often do you see that? You know, like a team that just looks absolute trash, and then like a new manager comes in and they just look like a different team, right?
Hmm.
Suddenly, all the people just start believing, and you know,
Modern high school, dude. Remember
I
when Viswas went and Mahesh came
yeah,
in?
I
We
know
just suddenly
exactly.
became like another team.
Suddenly, like, oh, hey, oh.
We have some swagger here.
Yeah.
All right. So that takes care of Northeast and its and their problems. East Bengal won
That's
against
actually a
Bangalore.
crazy fucking.
That good. That's a good
Yeah.
result for East Bengal, man. Like against a top four, top five team at that point. Now they've
Wait,
come
what did
down.
we predict for that when we were predicting it?
We were predicting for a Bangalore win. Oh, East Bengal. Most you predicted for an East Bengal win.
All of us
Oh,
did.
I
All
predict.
of us
Yeah,
did
all of
for an
us
East Bengal.
actually.
Yeah.
Wow, why
That's
did we do
interesting.
that?
Oh no, no, it is no. The reason for that was because Bangalore sacked their coach the previous
Still
week
though.
because of their bad results, and then we were excited about East Bengal because of the new player,
Mm.
and we thought like, oh, they will
True.
just scrap out a win, and which they did. So this is good. This is one of the things that we predicted, and they got the result done. So I'm happy for them. This I feel like Chennai versus Odisha. I think it's a big miss for both these teams. I feel like someone who, if they could get a result here, could really move up the table because I feel like both these teams require the points.
Well, I thought it
Chennai
was
could have
Chennai's
come
game to win. Like, how the
exactly
fuck would
like
Odisha win it?
Odisha. If they won this, they could have not much hope for them. But like Chennai, if they would have won this game, they could have come to this top four, dude. Like
Yeah,
what? There
man.
would be 17 points.
Yeah, they should have won that. That's a big loss for sure. 3 points.
I feel like Jamshedpur is really losing it, man. I feel like they had an opportunity to really cement their place in the top four. Like the
But it was
last few
kind of
games,
like that the
they
whole.
lost to like really weaker teams, dude. I think they got the points against the top of the table, or like Chennai, Hyderabad, and all those guys. But they lost to like Odisha. They lost to Kerala.
It's
They
been like
East
that the whole
Bengal.
season, though, right? Like, in the beginning we were like, okay, they're exciting, but like they're not top four material. Then suddenly
Yeah,
they made it to the top four. Now it's they're so erratic.
yeah. Again, I feel like this team with a few run of games which goes their way, I feel like they can easily be top four. One of the things I was noticing is like the ATK fans, the Mohun Bagan fans are actually, before we go there, it's kind of an interesting thing to talk about. They're really pissed off at their third away jersey because it reminds them of basically Mohun Bagan fans are not fans of ATK. Okay, they're mergers with ATK,
Oh, like all the
and the third away jersey is very similar to the ATK jersey, and it kind of goes, basically this conundrum is kind of fascinating because this is a merger of a big historic football club with a new ass club which is only started for the ISL. Okay, so ATK merged with Mohun Bagan.
Mm.
So Mohun Bagan has his own set of historic fans, and ATK has this new age fans which they only got from the ISL, right? ATK, the Kolkata, whatever. And now when they merged, these ATK, the Mohun Bagan fans don't really like or don't really feel connected with this ATK agenda.
fan base. Yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
and so their third away jersey has like ATK colors, and they hated it. They want their traditional colors of
Mm.
which you guys hate, like the maroon and the green. The and there was this interesting article of where was it? Um, where they were talking about like how the colors of the jersey matter so much to Mohun Bagan. Um, all I wanted to say was there is a riff in the Mohun Bagan fan base
Mm.
where they also don't like their own jersey, and which was really interesting because we don't like the original jersey
Yeah,
colors.
I was just gonna say it's like
It's not that I don't like the colors; it's just the way it is. It's just the stripes. It just does. I don't know. Something about it is
there
off-putting.
needs to be like a base color that's a little bit more neutral, and then
Yeah,
Mm.
incorporate these
yeah.
colors in some way. But that's just atrocious, dude. It
I
looks
mean,
like
the two
it.
colors just seem ugh, like they don't go
You
well
know,
together.
it's like
They don't
in
go.
like a video game when you turn on like the accessibility settings for blind people. Like that's what it looks like.
Knowing that this is the midpoint of the league, what do you guys think? So we started off not knowing anything. Now we know something. And what do you guys think about the league itself? Do you guys think even after this season, or even after these few games, what do you guys think of the clubs? What do you guys think of the league in general? Like, and do you guys see yourself being long-term fans of this project?
I like watching. I enjoy it. I think it's better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Um, it is like the one thing that and like you talked about it already is like I don't understand yet. I'm sure there are consequences for not winning or not continuing to, but I don't know what they are. Like, okay, you don't make the playoffs, but like without the relegation and the promotion and all that, like I don't understand what are the stakes. Like Odisha doesn't seem to give a shit, you know? Like it just seems like they just don't care. They're like they're there, the badass will keep scoring one goal here and there. Like, what's the point for them? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
A counter argument to that is it because the league is starting up and they just incorporate these two other teams, and they're going to incorporate more teams. Once the league is finally in its full form, I think then they're going to start doing the relegation or the I
yeah,
League.
yeah, totally. And like,
Yeah,
like, I also don't think you need relegation and promotion to make it like to give it like, for example, MLS. Like, you
yeah.
don't have that here, right? So, like, but it's different because in MLS you have like the Eastern and Western Conference, and then the
Mm,
playoffs are like it just makes it
mm,
exciting.
mm-hmm.
So I still, for me, like the one thing that I don't understand yet is like what, like I enjoy it because it's new and like it's
Yeah.
interesting, and we're looking at it like academically almost, but like I don't find it exciting in the way that I find like Premier League or even MLS exciting yet.
Why do you think that is? It's because we don't know enough, or is the players are not there already? The tactics are not there, or
Well, it
what is
just
it that?
seems like there's no sort of like, apart from say Goa maybe and Jamshedpur, I haven't seen any other teams really fight for that top spot. Like it just seems like okay, Mumbai and Mohan Bagan are obviously going to make the playoffs. Two other teams will make the playoffs, and then we'll see what happens, and Mumbai will win the league. You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen enough of this to like understand like what makes that playoff exciting and like who are the teams to be watching. So I don't know. Maybe after I see the playoffs, we'll see.
We
Okay,
get
like
that. We'll
yeah,
understand what that hype is.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's a fair point. Charan?
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree to some extent. The like the actual stakes for like basically like what is at stake is a little unclear. But I think yeah, the ISL guys are just hoping that there's like organic rivalries that develop and
Mm.
that fosters this whole competitiveness within the league and that kind of stuff. So which maybe it's not like a bad idea or anything like that. But what I would like to see is, there's like the AFC Champions League, the Asian
Mm.
Champions League
Mm-hmm.
thing. If like the top two spots make it
Mm-hmm.
to the qualification, then it brings like a whole other dimension into it.
Mm-hmm.
Or so at least you're like fighting for something other than the ISL, which I'm sure is eventually going to be some prestigious cup or whatever.
Mm.
But something else at stake, I think that would definitely make things more interesting. But in general, I think so. If you look at like the top four teams right now at the midpoint, I mean, this is not exactly the midpoint because 1 week has already been played. But
Mm-hmm.
you know what, man? We would have probably guessed Mumbai, Mohan Bagan, and Goa in the top four.
Mm. True.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
based on the way they were playing and based on like the initial results.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we all kind of expected either Jamshedpur or Northeast or someone to be in the top four. But other than that,
I would include Bangalore in there just because of the names that they have, and
mhm,
the history of them winning it and they
yeah.
being on the top. I would have considered Goa and Bangalore
I mean,
along with
Bangalore
Mumbai.
was literally like one
Yeah,
result away from being
yeah,
in the top four. So
yeah.
I think it is like, like quite predictable in that
Mm.
sense. Um, but yeah, in terms of the league itself, I think we've all, covered all of these points. Like the refereeing, the
Hmm.
goalkeeping, all of these things like definitely need to improve vastly. But yeah, man,
What
I'm actually like,
what's one thing that's made you feel good about this league? Some hope.
um,
Like something that I noticed in this league is this: before coming into it, I honestly had the idea of Indian football being just that lob pass,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
simple, basic football. What's got me interesting is that the teams do have a little bit of style, their own
yeah,
charisma,
yeah,
to say it. Uh, they have different coaches who implement different strategies. So I kind of like that. I didn't expect that. I thought everyone's
yeah.
going to play that same uh, traditional football that we saw when we were growing up, where like the pitches were bad, like they were just playing passes just to, I don't know, to nobody. There was no like direct style
There's
of
no like
play.
structure. Yeah,
There was no
Mm.
structure. There you go, that's the word, the structure. There was no structure. And I
yeah.
what I am excited about this, that there are teams which have proper structures and their own structures, right?
Mm.
Their own like little
And it's like interesting to see that the teams that you would say actually do have structure are the ones that are top of the table. So
mhm,
I think that's has to be like a focus for all of the other teams. It's like no matter what your structure is, like you need to have one, right?
yeah.
Mm.
And kind of play to your strengths or whatever it is. And I feel like those teams will do well in the ISL because that's been like a lot of in especially in like this format. It seems like you really get punished for like mistakes that you make. So you
Mhm,
have to like cut down on all that bullshit. Just be solid, maybe even like boring at times, like as Mohan Bagan has shown us.
Mm.
Like you don't need to be the most explosive team or anything like that. Just
Mhm.
need to be like solid at the back and try to nick a goal here and there, and that can actually get you pretty far in the ISL. So
Mhm.
I'm sure like other teams are gonna employ that tactic. But I really like Goa, man. I feel
mm.
like it's like a structure that's not just structureful, but actually entertaining to watch. So
Mhm.
I really appreciate that, and I hope they do like
Another thing I do
beautifully.
admire of this league is, before coming in, I thought there would be many more like ex superstars there
Mhm.
that's there in this league, who are like pretty much carrying the marketing vision of the team.
Mm,
But that's not the case. I feel like there are many more players in this team who are carefully picked to help their team, such as Vasquez, such as Angulos. Like they're carefully picked, not just the ex superstars like Diego Forlan who are just coming in, Del Piero just coming in. Yeah, that was the case, and maybe in the first season. But now it's carefully like what the team needs and how their team structure should be built. And those players, like the defenders that are coming in for Disha and all those guys, they're carefully there to manage the foundation or the base or the spine of the team, right?
mhm.
And I kind of found that interesting, rather than just getting like a Beckham type celebrity just
Mm.
to boost and just have him as an outlier in the team who'll do whatever he wants, and the team is pretty much there to like cover up his shit. That's not the case. They actually carefully selected players from international clubs. Maybe, yeah, true, they might be in the past their prime, but they're still there trying to help the team, rather than just be those one or two outliers just there for like bringing in the fans or something like that. That I found that respectable. Like I
Mhm.
admired that they didn't just go for that, which MLS kind of does.
MLS
Maybe
does
not
that
all
for
the
sure.
team, yeah,
Yeah.
not all the teams, but LA Galaxy and all those, just trying to create a Galactico or something like that, and not really build the grassroots level, or like build the youth system of that club. So I appreciated that. While we are at East Bengal, I do want to use this as a transition to this guy, Matty Steinman. He's this German player who's come to play with East Bengal. He's the guy who's been scoring a lot of goals for them from the midfield. He's
Mhm.
really good, but he's also getting involved in some social projects in Calcutta. Not Calcutta, in India, which is good, man. Like you want to see some social activism kind of thing being done by football players, especially foreign players who are coming. They get most of the spotlight. They get most of the coverage. So I feel like if players start doing this, I feel like it's good for like just the image of football, image of these clubs,
Mhm.
and I don't know. It just feels like at this time of trouble, like ISL is standing with their fans and with their community and stuff like that. So, what do you guys think of stuff like this? They like shouldn't more players be doing um like something like Marcus Rashford? He's fighting for like
Marcus Rashford is
child
awesome.
childhood, child hunger and stuff like that, and child poverty and stuff like that. India has like a plethora of troubles of their own, and players come is stepping in and doing like NGO projects and like social projects. Like it's commendable, and that's why I wanted to highlight this player. Kudos, man.
Yeah, it's cool. I like what like Rashford is a good example because literally the British, it's basically Rashford versus the British government at this point. And
Yeah,
like it's not even a joke. It's like that's actually what's happening. He's fighting against the British government. They're being such fucking idiots. And I think it would be cool if like this becomes something bigger and he can engage. Like it's cool when this is happening, and then if this can like engage some sort of chutia politician to like do something, then that would be even better. So I
that's
guess you're
great. And one of the reason I wanted to bring up this guy and Rashford was it's kind of seen like it's kind of put down when athletes do such things is because oh your focus is not on football, your focus is not on the stuff that you're getting millions to play, rather than stop focusing on social project, leave the politics out of it and all that stuff. And Marcus Rashford has gotten those criticisms leveled at him, but his performance on the pitch has kind of justified, okay, fine, my concentration is still, if he struggled this season, I think there would be a lot more of a backlash where like
mm,
why aren't you focusing on like what you're being paid for rather than trying to get involved in social issues. So I feel like sports in general because your reach is so vast, they should be involved, like, or they, it's good for them being involved in social issues, because just because you can create that much more awareness. And and they should not like look down, they should not be looked down upon when they do such things. And kudos to this guy, man. Awesome.
mhm.
But
Awesome
that's
for
like
doing it.
ridiculous, man. To like
Like I
look
just think that
down
if
on like.
But you agree that there is that sort of
yeah,
like
yeah. But
Of
if
course,
someone were
there
to
is.
say like, oh,
attitude.
Rashford, like focus more on this, it'd be like, no, what he's doing is better.
Yeah, it's absolutely makes a difference.
And I
And
mean, even if it's dude, like people like, dude, it's like he's like a regular guy, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's not like 100% always thinking about, oh, how I'm going to like finish and how I'm going to pass the ball. It's like, yeah, okay, he does this and then he goes
Yeah.
home and does other shit also. So just like relax, like because it's not like it's 24/7 fucking football,
Yeah.
football, football.
do you guys have any closing thoughts
Well,
after
I have
halfway
a
through the
thought
season?
here. Look at this. Look at this. I'll send you guys something in the chat.
You have a thought?
Yeah, go to that guy.
Oh,
My dad went to high school with this guy, and he's a sports
okay.
commentator and football expert in India. Should
We should
we?
bring him on.
Yeah,
You think?
yeah.
We should just maybe end of the season or big after.
Well, my dad doesn't talk to him, so I'll just message him on Twitter and be like, "Listen, we do this podcast. You want to talk to us?"
Hey, listen.
Yeah, dude. Imagine if you message him as a stranger.
Yeah,
Uh, so he writes for ISL,
I don't know what he does. I just saw this
sports
is all I know
commentator,
about him.
football expert, sports writer. Okay. Oh, he does talk about ISL. Oh, retweeted. Okay. It'll be if we do maybe ask if we can get him to speak one
Yeah,
of these days. We can
yeah,
ask him, hey, what's the history of Indian football and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
It'll be cool to find out.
Yeah.
Um, all right, I think that's it for today. See you guys next time.